Okay, we're going to be recording this in the event that anyone cannot join us, but I'd like to welcome everyone today. My name is Joanne Casey, for those of you who don't know me. I am the director of the Career and Professional Development Center, and I have the privilege of welcoming our guests to speak about this program that we are going to launch in the fall. Well, please join me in welcoming, we have Judge Reba with us today, who is with the New York State Supreme Court, Albany County Supreme Court. We have Jasmine Vale, who's the principal law clerk with the New York State Supreme Court in Queens County. The Honorable Lisa Fisher will be joining us shortly. She's with the New York State Supreme Court, Greene County Supreme Court. And in one moment, I'm going to introduce you, in absentia, but she has left a video with the Honorable Lenora Foote Beavers from the Buffalo City Court. And they're here today to talk about this great program that we're going to launch this fall. The National Association of Women Law Judges, the New York chapter, they're going to talk about an 8-week judicial internship program. So without further ado, I am going to attempt to share the screen and play the video from Judge Foote Beavers. Many of you know me that this is going to be quite a feat for me, but we're going to give it a shot. So I'm going to. Okay, if you let me know if you can hear it. If you can't, somebody signal me, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Lenora Foote Beavers, Buffalo City Court Judge and co-chairperson of the National Association of Women Judges New York Chapter Internship Committee. Along with my co-chairs, Judges Hillary Gingold and Linda Kevins, we welcome this opportunity to share information about the Spring 2021 internship program. We were extremely pleased to launch the first class of interns this past semester, which entailed 8 weeks of interesting and informative assignments with various judges throughout New York State. The program was designed to be 100% virtual, and we plan to continue offering a virtual internship for the fall 2021 semester. As you all know, the COVID protocols continuously change, so there remains a possibility that students may be able to enjoy either a hybrid or in-person model if practicable for the judge and student. The internship runs for approximately 8 weeks and provides an opportunity for students to complete the 50-hour pro bono requirement for admission to the New York State Bar. Despite COVID and the many challenges to in-person activities, the internship program proved to be an enjoyable and incredible virtual learning experience for both judges and students involved. The program consists of an assignment to a judge, along with weekly chamber chats and optional assignments on social justice issues and hot legal topics of the day. We ask that all judges provide research, writing, and viewing of court proceedings for all interns. The chamber chats provided an opportunity for the students and judges to gather weekly for presentations on various topics that impact communities of color, balancing professional career aspirations and personal and family time, and other areas of law that students indicated an interest in. These conversations were essential to helping students elevate their knowledge and experience in the legal profession, and also provided an opportunity for students to interact and meet judges from other parts of the state that they probably would not have had the opportunity to meet otherwise. Regarding the optional assignments, the committee provided a list of movies, books, and other interesting writings for interns to review and provide their opinions and reflections. Students were able to count that time spent on these projects toward their 50-hour requirement. For example, the book The New Jim Crow has sparked much discussion in the criminal justice area. If that is something you are interested in, that is a book you could read and provide your opinions and reflections to the group. Another example is the movie Palmer. This movie dealt with the issue of children coming to terms with their sexual identity and orientation. Again, if this is a subject area that interests you, the opportunity is available for you to watch the movie independently and provide your reflections on the topic. In addition to the optional assignments, all the interns have access to the New York State Judicial Institute CLE materials and resources, and also free membership to the Academy of Trial Lawyers. These two incredible resources provide additional tools for students to use to increase their knowledge and skills in all areas of law. I hope that you are all interested in participating in this program. I cannot stress enough the invaluable opportunity that this program can provide. It gives you an insight into the legal process and the court system that you can only achieve when you have an up-close and personal view with the judge. To apply, you need to submit a letter of interest, a resume, and writing sample. We also ask that you indicate the area of law that most interests you. And while we work very hard to honor that request, we cannot guarantee placement with the judge in the area of your preferred choice. We are excited for the possibility of having Albany Law School students participate in the program this fall. Attorney Jasmine Valle is available today to answer any additional questions you may have. Thank you for your interest in the National Association of Women Judges New York Chapter Internship Committee. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Judge Beavers, who couldn't be here with us today. Before I open it up to questions or ask our speakers if they would have any additional information to add, I want to let all the students know that the position is posted on Albany Law Link. It is position number 3187, and the deadline is June 14th. So with that said, Judge Reba or Jessica, is there anything you'd like to add? Or Jasmine, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'm going to defer Jasmine. This is my first year being involved, but I do look forward to getting Albany Law School students involved in the program and having local judges participate in the program as well from Albany County. I know that we have a surrogates court judge, Stacey Pettit, who's also acknowledged that this is a great program, and she will be one of the judges that the students will have an opportunity to work with. So I'd like to defer to Jasmine if she could tell us a little bit more about chamber chats and tell the students a little bit on a day-to-day basis, what is this internship like?
Thank you for that. I'm so glad to be here. So thank you for extending the invitation. I quickly just put the flyer in the chat so that way the students have it. It provides all of the information in terms of where to apply and how to apply and all of the deadlines just in case. But the primary purpose of the program is really to expose students to judges, right? Because I don't know about for most of you, but my first experience with a judge was when I first became an admitted attorney. And I was at an extreme disadvantage compared to some students who graduated and had judges for parents or, you know, family members as lawyers. So the program is really to expose students to an opportunity that they don't generally have. And the launch of our program last semester was amazing because I think a lot of the students, they were able to get that experience. And a lot of them definitely reflected upon that towards the end and told us that they think it definitely provides a competitive sense for them to have on their resume to say that they've had an opportunity to intern for a judge. And I think also too, this time period, it being virtual also presents a unique experience for all of you. I think it's a very intimate experience that you have with the judge, depending on the chambers that you're assigned to, where you have access to a judge. And it's probably the first time and the only time in your legal career that you will be able to ask a judge why. And so we definitely encourage the students to engage in that type of conversation. The chamber chats are also amazing sessions because we have judges and attorneys that present to students. And we encourage the students to use this as a sense of network. Again, we want to tie this in for the students that don't have this network built into their genetics, so to speak, to get it through the program. And so we kind of give the students tips and tricks of the trade on how to network with some of the speakers we have, whether that's to connect with them on LinkedIn, get their email down and follow up with an email. So in terms of just getting practical networking skills, the chamber chats provide information for the students that's practical for them outside of being a lawyer and allow you to help network. But I just also want to take a moment to answer any questions that any of you may have that you thought of that I haven't answered, or anything you think I should touch upon that I haven't already.
The students get an opportunity to write decisions alongside the judges. What kind of writing experience will they get?
So it'll really depend on the judge you are assigned to, but most judges will provide an opportunity for a writing sample, whether that is a brief, a memo, or a proposed draft decision. Those are opportunities. I can tell you, I work for a judge. We definitely implore the students to work on writing samples whenever they can. But like I said, it really just depends on the chambers. And I know that with things being virtual, we encourage the students to advocate for themselves. If writing is something that you think is something you want to work on, definitely let your judge know that, or your chamber staff, or the law clerk that is assigned with your judge, saying, listen, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I really want to work on my writing or my research. Is this something that I can work on with your chambers? And if there's an opportunity, this is what I would like to write on. But most certainly there is an opportunity for writing.
Question about, so it's 8 weeks, 50 hours. What is the typical week? Do the students set that up with their judge? Is it something written in stone where they have 8 hours a week, or what does it look like on a week-to-week basis for these students?
So it really depends on chambers, but generally the students are required to do 8 to 10 hours to comply with the 50-hour pro bono period, if that's something they want to do. And really it's the judge and the intern that are working together to form their schedule, whatever that may be at the beginning of the program. Because the judges are in different counties and they are in different areas of the law, their schedules will look completely different, right? You have some judges who will do criminal and they have access to night arraignments, and that may provide some access for students after hours. So really, we encourage the students at the beginning of the program to set up an appointment with their judge or their chamber staff to go over what their week-to-week will look like and what their day-to-day will look like. Sometimes for some chambers, it's a matter of the week prior, the judge will be sending out invitations for the proceedings, and that way the students have access to those particular proceedings and they just log in, they stay logged in, they observe, and towards the end, they will meet with the judge, and then the judge will go over what they've observed. And then also sometimes in between that, when you're not observing, either the law clerk or the judge will assign an assignment for you where you'll be working remotely outside of observation on either research or memo or writing when you're not observing with the judge. But it really does depend on the judge you're assigned to. But for the most part, I can say that they have enough throughout the week for you to observe. Like Judge Foot Beavers had mentioned, we are slowly opening up the courts. So we don't know how much in the fall will be accessible to all of you virtually. But most of the judges have expressed that there is enough for you to observe some types of proceedings, and then in addition to doing research and writing for them. And I'm sorry that, it seems a little up in the air, but we're really trying to work with the judges and the students to make sure that they have a fruitful experience. And that really means just evolving with everything that's going on.
I think we have learned to evolve over this past year, and we understand, Jasmine, that we're going to keep going in that direction, even as things start to become more in person. For the students on the call, I just want to remind you that this is an incredible opportunity to be able to develop a relationship with the judge, the law clerks, to get letters of recommendations, writing samples, and really build your network. So if the opportunity is for a judge in Albany, but you hope to, work outside the Albany area after graduation, remember the judge and the law clerks, their networks go far. Their networks go far. I did have a question from a student who couldn't make it today. They've actually committed to a field placement for the fall, but are very interested in this program. They're not sure that they could do it in conjunction with their field placement, given the commitment. And their field placements at Albany Law School do help cover their pro bono hours. So the question from the student is, would this opportunity also be available during the spring semester?
Yes, we're hoping for it to be around for a very long time. I think it was very successful, the first launch, and we've had a great response now for the fall. So absolutely, that is the hope. I think the structure will definitely change though for the spring and for the summer. I don't want to provide too much foresight because I am not a part of the NAWJ. I'm just assisting the co-chairs. But I would say that the more that the courts open up, that will leave for the opportunity for students to actually come in with the judges. And I think the structure of the program may change in that respect, but the program itself may stay intact. And we hope for it to continue on for sure.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Yeah, of course.
Students, do you have any questions?
And there's no silly questions. And I know that this experience may seem a little daunting and a little intimidating, but just know that there's a network of people who are here to support you. Even though we may not know you, but we're here to support you, and we understand the struggles that you may face coming in, especially now with the pandemic and the conversion of everything going to virtual. And so this is really to demonstrate to all of you and the law schools that there are a network of judges and lawyers who fully support you and want to make sure that you are ready to hit the ground running once you graduate law school. Yes, I see a question, a hand up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just
Kelsey?
wondering, yep, I was just wondering how many spots are open for the program and how many people participated last year?
That's a great question. So last year we had, I believe it was 12 students, 12 judges. Spots depend on how many judges volunteer to host. We have had a great number. So I think we're still working out the kinks, but I think we have about 20 judges who are willing to host, give or take. But we get a number of applicants, which is why the flyer says that seating is limited. So yeah, we definitely encourage, if this is something you're interested in, to definitely apply. There are some judges who've opted in to take more than one student, so there may be that possibility. But if you're interested, please make sure to also, and I can't stress this enough, and I probably should have started with this earlier, follow the rules on the flyer, right? Like it has specific things that we're requesting in terms of attachments and the formatting of those attachments. Please make sure they're PDF, right? For your own protection, right? This is your personal information. And we want to make sure that that information stays intact and it's not compromised in any way. So please make sure that it is PDF. And in terms of being a strong candidate and for your submissions, I think the best way, even if you don't have any legal experience to offer, following the rules of submission is very, very important. And I know that seems very basic and fundamental, but I just want to reiterate that doing that goes a long way, right? In terms of what we look at on who applies and who should we contact for an interview. So just make sure you follow the directions to a T. And just a little tip and trick, whenever you're applying for any position, I would encourage you to make sure that you have your name on the attachment, right? Because a lot of employers get a ton of submissions, and you want to make sure yours doesn't get lost when things are getting downloaded, and that can happen. And how do you do that? You make sure that it has your name on it, not to forget that you're not forgotten. This is me, this is my first, this is my last name, and this is my writing sample, or this is my first, my last name transcripts. Those, I can't tell you how far those things go in terms of getting a voluminous amount of submissions. So yeah, those are the little tips and tricks I'm going to leave with for you all in terms of applying.
One thing I wanted to add, Jasmine, for the Albany program, we're new this year to Albany judges being part of it. So I think in your application, if you want to be with an Albany or a Capital Region judge, make sure you put that on there, because Judge Fisher and I, we are recruiting additional judges to participate in the Capital Region. So we will continue to recruit more judges if we see that there's a lot of interest. So we have recruited about 4 or 5 judges that are willing to do it locally, but we will recruit more depending on how much interest we get. And you're going to want to identify where you want to work on that application, so that way we'll know that you're a Capital Region candidate and you won't be placed with in a different region.
That is a great point. That also brought me to my next little tip and trick about your your area of interest, be creative, right? Definitely mention if that's where you want to be. And like Judge Foot Beaver said, we're going to do our best to try to accommodate the judges and the students. But use the area of interest portion of the submission to be creative and tell us a little bit about yourself. We understand that most of you do not have the legal experience that you probably wish you had, which is why you're here, right? And that's why we're giving this opportunity. So don't shy away from it, embrace it. And I would say use that portion to definitely be creative. And like the judge said, make sure to express your area of interest, because we don't know what you're interested in unless you tell us. And we want to make sure, again, that you have a fruitful experience with us. And the only way to do that is to express that early on with us. Yes, Allison.
Hi, I was wondering, other than area of interest, what other types of things do you consider when you're pairing the interns and the judges together?
That's a great question. So we look at placement in terms of where people are actually living, residing, and where the judges are. That's a big factor, especially now that this may be a hybrid model. We want to make sure that students are placed in an area where they can potentially access the judge if the opportunity arises. But because of the logistics of how many judges to student ratio, like I said, we try to accommodate as best as possible, but that's not always the case. But that's one of the factors we look at in terms of pairing. We also look at the statement of interest in terms of if a student says they're interested in gender rights, and if we have a judge that is doing gender rights and we can pair them and they happen to be in the same county, in the same area, that's also something we take into consideration. So it's, like I said, it's very important you outline those things for us so we know how to better place you with the judges. So thank you for that question, because I think that's a great thing for the students to know.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions at this time. I do want to let the students know that the flyer that Jasmine has shared with all of you is also attached to the posting on Albany Law Link. So if you didn't get a chance to copy that or save it, it's also available attached to the posting.
Well, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Jasmine, for being here to answer all the questions. I hope we get a lot of applications, and I hope you guys have a great summer.
Yes, thank you, Judge Reba and Jasmine, for taking time out of your busy days and helping us launch this program at Albany Law School. I personally am very excited about it for our students.
Yes, thank you for having me. And I want to just tell the students and the faculty that team that are on and the judge, this is a great opportunity, as you've probably heard, and you guys have taken the first step in, securing a successful future for yourself. Because I think networking is a hard thing to do, and being here is hard, being present with everything that's going on in your personal life and in school. So kudos to all of you. I don't know where you are in life. Are you 1Ls, 2Ls, 3Ls? But kudos to all of you and the judge. Thank you for being here, and for the school for inviting me. So thank you all for that.
Great.
Right.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.